Hello, my name's Greg Urey. I am the BASF seed agronomist for the state of Illinois, and we're standing outside at the Midwest Research Farm today in Seymour, Illinois, and I want to talk a little bit about fungicide and insecticide applications and timing. Over the last several years, we've done a lot of trials on this farm looking at different factors that have a positive influence to yield. And one of the things year in, year out that's most consistent to be able to bring us a positive impact on yield is a fungicide insecticide application in that R2, R3 time frame. Last year I was able to conduct about 150 comparisons across 8 different sites across the state of Illinois, and across those sites what I saw was about an 80% return on investment when we looked at an R3 application of fungicide insecticide like Revitec Fast Act. A few questions I get from this though is how do you growth stage soybeans to understand what's the difference between R2, R3, R4, and also now that we have Revitec with our Revasol molecule and we talk about longer residual, can we go earlier? So I'm going to walk through and show you how I growth stage things, some of the things I think about when I'm in a field, and to help with that timing to be able to match it up to give us the best chance for return on investment. So like I said, when we talk about fungicide and insecticide applications, the first timing that we talk about is R2, and typically we'll hit R2 stage about 10 nodes into it, or 10 trifoliates into the stage. But the way we identify R2 stage, it's called full bloom. And we want to look at the upper 2 most nodes and see if we have an open flower in one of those 2 uppermost nodes like we do here. If we have that, then that's R2. The reason I am not a big proponent of saying, hey, let's just go out at early R2 stage is the soybeans are a little bit different than corn in the fact that they will hit the reproductive stage while they still have a lot of vegetative growth to be done. So if we're out there at really early growth R2 stage and we only have about 10 trifoliates showing, there's a lot of growth and a lot of nodes and plant leaf trifoliates that we're not going to be able to protect at that time. So if you think about R2 stage at 10, this is a 10 trifoliates, we'll probably end up with about 18 to 20 trifoliates on this plant. We leave a lot of critical nodes that we're not protecting because we're really only protecting the plants, the leaves that we target. So when I talk about R2 application, I really want to talk about late R2. So as we get into that closer to that 14, 15 node stage, and we're still in the R2 stage before R3. The R3 stage is where we have seen consistently the best response though to a fungicide. In order to be R3, that's beginning pod, we'll talk about looking at the upper 4 most nodes, and do we have pods that will be between that 3/16 of an inch to 3/4 of an inch stage. A lot of times you'll hear me say I want to be R3.5, and there's really no R3.5, but what I'm saying is I would like to have a 1/2 inch pod on one of those upper 4 nodes, or at least maybe a 5/8 of an inch pod when I spray. What I've seen historically is that allows me to have pretty much all of the major contributing nodes and trifoliates out here that we're going to be able to cover. That are going to contribute to yield. So we know that about 80 to 85% of the yield is going to be within this part of the plant. So there will be more growth after that, but this is going to protect the critical nodes and allow us to be able to protect these lower branches as well. As we start looking later into the season, we talk about R4. I've had pretty good luck with R4. It's probably not quite as consistent as when I look at an R3 application, but early R4 stage, this is full pod. And the way we identify full pod is by looking again in these upper 4 most nodes, and do we have a pod that is 3/4 of an inch or longer, but we have not started the seed fill period yet. If we're early R4, I have had good luck. As I get later R4 and we get a lot more growth, the challenge I have is can I get coverage down in this lower canopy to be able to protect these lower leaves, lower trifoliates, that are going to have a lot of the pods and contribute to a lot of the yield too. So typically my sweet spot is that second half of R3 to early R4 is where I try to target most of my applications. The last stage I'll talk about is R5, and it's not one of the stages if you're just doing a one-pass program that I would try to target, But we do talk about sequential applications and hitting an R3, R5 application for maximum yield and maximum protection. So again, like the other growth stages, we're going to be looking in those upper 4 nodes, and do we have seeds starting to fill in these pods? So if we start seeing small seeds in these upper 4 nodes starting to fill in the pods, that's the R5 stage. And we have had pretty good luck here on this farm when we've started looking at high yield environments, going out with an R3 application and then coming back again at this R5 application to round out that plant health and stress mitigation to maximize yields. So like I said, one of the most consistent things we see year in, year out for trying to help maximize and drive higher yields in soybeans is a fungicide insecticide application of Revitec Fast Act in that R2 to R4 growth stage.